Atari just reinvented the video game with this, the Atari 7800.
Incredible, huh? So powerful it plays like the best arcade game with real joysticks, right? So advanced it plays super games, computer games no other video game system ever played. Just look at these.
It even plays all Atari 2600 games.
Great, huh? Hey,
oh, the new Atari 7800. We reinvented the video game.
The Atari 7800. Yesterday's console of the future.
In 1984, Atari had just been sold, and they put the Atari 7800 on the shelf.
The Atari got sold to Jack Tramiel, who basically took a look at everything going on and the money it was hemorrhaging as a company and said, whoa, 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 hold on. Maybe we shouldn't do this. Maybe in the midst of this giant crash that's going on in the industry, we shouldn't just throw good money after bad again and release this console.
So the 5200 came out probably a couple years after it should have, and this came out probably 3 years after it really should have to really compete. If this came out in 82 instead of the 5200, this would have dominated.
Right.
But the fact is, by the time this came out in 86, no one cares anymore.
The NES, which was test marketed in 85, fully released in 86, doing much, bringing life into the industry, the Master System coming out. Atari's thinking, hey, we got something in our back pocket, bloop, there you go, now buy our games.
And they put it out with one game, the Pac-In game, Pole Position 2. It wasn't until 1987 that they really tried to push the system. Here's the problem. This was meant to compete with the NES. It doesn't look a whole lot better than an Atari 5200.
The selling point for the 7800 was high-quality arcade games, and they weren't bad, but the NES was doing it better.
While it had a large color palette of, I think, 256 colors, it really lacked in the sound department, and that's where a lot of the criticism came.
I do want to give the 7800 credit for one thing. It has a fantastic joystick.
This is nice.
Yeah, the 7800 joystick is just awesome.
Oh, did they learn their lesson from the 5200? Oh, yes, they did.
Solid, sturdy, good joystick, buttons for lefties and righties.
Your left hand's always control. That's always control. And then you got this weird kind of side buttons going on. So as a child, my hands were much smaller then. So it was probably even then harder to get my fingers wrapped around the side buttons and actually get them pressed. That was stupid.
It also featured backwards compatibility with the entire Atari 2600 library.
There were only 59 licensed games released for the 7800, and many of them were just rehashes.
And that's the problem with the 7800, is that there's only 50 plus games on the system, and most are just ports from the arcade that you could have played on the 5200 or on the 2600. So I don't know who this system was for by the time it came out.
So the Atari 7800 was actually the first video game system released by Atari that was not designed by Atari. It was designed by an outside firm, the General Computer Corporation.
GCC, the company that created the 7800, had not been paid by Jack Tramiel. He thought that it was basically part of the acquisition when he bought it. That was the deal.
You had a system that was already designed, and it comes out and it's 2 years behind the curve already because it was designed to be released in '84. I can see why Atari wanted to hurry up, quick get back in the market while the getting's good, but stuff like that doesn't help the cause. I love Rampage. Rampage is a fun game.
The title speaks for itself. You just go on a rampage, you destroy everything.
So the game essentially takes the idea of the giant kaiju monsters wreaking havoc on a city.
The three monsters include George of the jungle, who's obviously King Kong. There's a lizard, Lizzie the lizard, which is Godzilla. And then you got Ralph, who's an old big werewolf. I don't know why.
You go on a countrywide tour destroying the crap out of cities.
You climb a series of buildings, and the goal is to level all the buildings by either, just destroying them, punching through the walls.
How do you regain your life? You eat people.
You eat people.
Like any monster would.
When you'd break into the buildings, there were helpful items and there were hurtful items. Like helpful items would be food and money. Hurtful items would be electrical appliances and actually cigarettes. There's a message there for the kiddies.
What was neat though is that there's little tiny things like a toaster, where if you ate the toaster, you would lose health, but if you wait a split second and the bread pops up, you gain health.
There's actually some really funny stuff in the game, like you hit something electrical and your guy gets zapped, you can see a skeleton, or you'd eat something you weren't supposed to and you blow fire, or there's like a guy in the shower and he hits you with the shower nozzle and blows you off the building.
The great thing was this was 3-player simultaneous in the arcades. You not only were working cooperatively, but you could beat up other players to gain, you know, if you wanted to eat the people that they were standing near.
There's something so incredibly satisfying about scaling those buildings and just punching holes in the windows and reaching back and punching holes in the building behind you.
It's a lot of fun for a little while. It made a great arcade game. I've never enjoyed any of the home ports. The Nintendo home port was one of the most boring experiences of my life.
It's very mindless fun, but it's fun.
Gunship is an AH-64 Apache helicopter combat flight simulator game. Another one?
You look at this game and it's, the first thing that hits me is, hey, this is Microsoft Flight Simulator with guns.
So in Gunship, you take control of an Apache helicopter and you go flying around, you're shooting ground targets, air targets with your machine guns and missiles and whatnot. And again, it was just one of those Microprose games that really got it right.
And Sid Meier was one of the programmers on it. Building up that resume, Sid, till you make your own biggies.
You would create your character and you could gain rank upgrades and all the medals.
Medals could be awarded after a pilot had died, just like in real life.
There were achievements and perks, little things to unlock that you could get by completing certain objectives.
It's a solid entry into that simulator genre, you know, whether it's flight simulator or combat simulator or medieval strategy simulator or whatever, you know, that you would find on PCs at this time.
How'd you like to play a video game that makes you feel really horrible about yourself? Try Chiller by Exidy.
Chiller puts you in control of a light gun in a gallery shooting kind of game. Almost like early carnival games where you're shooting ducks, except instead of ducks, it's innocent humans being held in a torture chamber where you had to use your light gun to execute them.
Every level is sort of like a dungeon or a scene out of a horror movie, and you've just got all these helpless people that are strung up or trapped in these crazy devices.
Now the story is that you have to escape this torturous castle. That's understandable. That sounds fine. I don't understand how escaping a castle constitutes murdering and torturing people.
The real challenge to the game is utilizing the gun to trigger the different torture devices and traps to murder people as fast as possible.
Almost like a mousetrap setting where you trigger off one thing and then, oh, someone gets lowered to their death. Oh, good. Good job. Good job.
You're blasting their faces off. You're activating guillotines and having their heads get chopped off. It's insane. People are on the rack and you're shooting the rack and their body parts are separating.
That's pretty much the game in a nutshell.
That's the game.
Needless to say, Exidy did not find a success in Chiller in the United States, but they did actually have some more success in porting it over to some third world countries and other locations.
This game had blood and tits and torture, and then it was on NES, and well, the NES version's something else. It sucked.
There was an unlicensed port to the NES by American Game Cartridges where they really toned it down. They said that these aren't people, these are monsters, so it's okay.
What were they thinking? This is not a good idea. It's like in the tradition of Death Race and Halloween on the 2600. We'll just come out with the most disgusting, horrific game we possibly can. It's hostile.
Wasn't
in
Death
the arcade.
Race made by Exidy as well?
What's up with Exidy?
I think it was.
Can you make something cute?
It's a terrible game. It's awful. Awful. It's a bad game. Don't play that game.
And now the other arcade games of 1986.
Hey guys, I'm Pixel Dan, and these are the other arcade games of 1986. Rygar. Battle through hostile landscapes as the legendary hero, using only your weapon, the disc armor. Renegade. One of the most influential games in the beat-em-up genre. 4-directional controls with punch, jump, kick action? Nice. Solomon's Key, a very challenging puzzle game where you control the wizard Dana to overcome enemies that are respawning forever, challenging level designs, and one-touch instant deaths. Eek! So there you go, guys. There are the other arcade games of 1986. Hey, just because they may not have been as popular as some of the others, doesn't mean they're not fun. Until next time!